Elaine Birchall, an internationally recognized expert in hoarding therapy and clutter coaching, supports people to take back their life when their things are taking over. She connects with them through her writing, coaching, and podcasts. Recently, she developed a unique opportunity for her audience. She figured out a way to demonstrate for them how to use the skills she teaches to overcome the hurdles that stand between them and their goals. She is about to embark on a solo journey to the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest in Uganda to face down the challenges that present themselves in an extremely unfamiliar environment. Here, she can coach and show her audience how to face life's challenges with raw, unscripted honesty. So what made her do it? She was hosting one of her weekly Conquer the Clutter podcasts and was struggling with reaching her audience about how to overcome challenges. She was trying to think of a way to help beyond her regular talk coaching. It was then that it occurred to her that she could demonstrate how to overcome challenges in real life. To be honest with her viewers, she realized it would have to involve attempting to achieve a meaningful goal in a very different environment, doing something she had absolutely no previous experience with. At that moment, her cell phone lit up with a Facebook picture of a gorilla. After a little research about feasibility, the plan for the Conquer the Challenges project was hatched. Elaine will travel alone to mountainous Uganda and trek through the jungle, facing whatever the Conquer the Challenges project involves, to sit with these magnificent primates. She will achieve much more than her goal. She will find a deep and meaningful connection with a community of people she would never have known, and an opportunity to contribute to their well-being as they contribute to hers. Join Elaine Birchall on this once-in-a-lifetime journey. This is Conquer the Challenges. Elaine Birchall at Birchall Consulting hosts a free podcast weekly over Zoom, the Conquer the Clutter podcast.
Fundamentally, the point of the podcast is hoarding behavior. It's free of charge, it's weekly, and we cover all topics having to do with hoarding specifically, and all of the comorbidities, all of the accompanying complications or vulnerabilities that coexist in hoarding situations.
After several positive discussions, Elaine determines how she can bring her audience on an adventure to witness how to overcome challenges.
It was a momentary, it turned out to be an opportunity. At the point, it was a complete challenge. That day, we were talking about stumbling blocks, motivation, and how to overcome challenges as they erupted in front of you. And I was feeling a struggle inside, realizing as a therapist that talking only goes so far. And I was saying to myself, how can you demonstrate in real life? It has to be authentic. You can't be an expert at something and pretend to be showing people.
Many years ago, Elaine developed a respect for gorillas and their synchronicity with humans. She never intended to have a personal experience with them, especially in her 70s when she has asthma, a fusion at the base of her spine, and a neck injury. She also broke her ankle twice in the last 10 years. She definitely is not the poster girl for trekking through the jungle on foot looking for gorillas.
I had a kind of a fascination with primates and, how their family systems are so much like humans, and just that kind of interest. Many, many years ago, I'd forgotten to take the wallpaper and change the wallpaper off my cell phone. My phone lit up, and I looked over and I thought, I wonder, what would that be like? And then the project called Conquer the Challenges was hatched.
After choosing a safari and mapping out where she will stay and how she will get there, Elaine books her flights to Uganda. She sets up her portable camera to share the experience with her audience.
I chose Uganda because at that point, politically, it was safer. I started doing what I tell my clients to do: get yourself ready. Figure out what you need to do, what your vulnerabilities are, what your strengths are, and in that mix, start getting yourself ready for the task at hand. This is not a match made in heaven, but you know what? You're here, and one way or the other, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it raw and honest. To show in real time, what is it like when you're facing a challenge that you've never faced before, and you are giving it your absolute best with what you have in that moment.
I want you to see the weather that we have and the first challenge. Here it is. Look at this.
Her trip has barely begun when the first unexpected challenge arises. An ice storm is due to arrive at the same time as Elaine's flight.
I ended up at the Ottawa airport, and 2 seconds later looked up and the last 4 flights were canceled. I thought, okay, this is where it starts.
With Elaine's flight delayed, there is a risk that she will miss her connecting flight in Uganda.
One of the people you live with is willing to drive you down to Toronto because I was actually leaving. That was my jump off point, was Pearson Airport in Toronto. We got there and overcame that challenge.
She stays at a hotel to wait out the storm. To make matters worse, Elaine's phone and camera equipment begin to malfunction.
My phone is on, suddenly, as though it's possessed, starts speak over. And it was a little bit of a comedy skit, which in some ways, when you're facing a real raw challenge and you're feeling a little insecure because you've never done this before, I knew where I could take the phone within the airport and have somebody have a look at it, and that was my best chance.
The next day, Elaine wakes up to find that her office staff have contracted COVID-19.
And I get a text message from my assistant, and she's the one holding the fort while I'm away.
I thought I'd just let you know that there's been another challenge that's just come up. Hafsa has tested positive for COVID.
How are you going to handle this? And I thought, well, you can't handle the Uganda front and handle the office front. So I just sent an email out to everyone and said, I'm away, Hafsa has COVID, and please leave messages, but they probably won't be returned within a week or 2.
Elaine boards the plane for a 24-hour flight across 4 time zones.
We're on the plane.
It was like Christmas morning. It really was. It was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to give it my best. It may be a complete farce because I don't know what I'm facing. I don't really know if I can pull this off. And people are going to be watching. And I'm thinking, what's the worst that could happen? No, you're not giving up. No matter what it takes, if it takes you 5 times as long to do this, you're doing it. When they announced it is when it was like, this is really happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just landed at Entebbe International Airport, Kampala, Uganda.
Elaine lands in Uganda and makes her connecting local flight to a rural area of the country.
Hello, travelers. This is our plane.
And so I went out to the prop plane, and I looked at it, and I thought, this is really small.
This is Jeffrey, our pilot. Yay, Jeffrey!
Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. And this is a co-traveler.
Hello.
Before taking off, Elaine talks with the pilots of the connecting flight.
And I asked everybody, so you must have challenges.
I think it's the best feeling to know that I don't know what's going to happen to me, but one thing I know is it's going to be okay. It will be okay. It just gives me more strength knowing that, okay, God has it all sorted for me. It's like going to sleep in the night and then you wake up and you're like, I did not plan that I will wake up alive, but here I am alive. In the morning, the weather is clear, it's so clear, but then when you go out, clouds keep on forming, weather keep on building, so you have to be like, okay, I know I'm already in the air, it has to be okay, I have to go back home in one piece. Stressing about it won't help anything, but when you don't stress about it, then you plan. It's always a plan that comes up when you relax. Sometimes you have bad days, but even at the end of the bad days, you're still gonna be okay.
And then it turned out that his assistant, I guess his co-pilot is the better term for it, was a young man who was born in Stratford, Ontario.
After 24 hours in the air, Elaine lands near the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest and makes her way to the Mahogany Springs Lodge.
This is Kasesi. Moses, say hello.
Hello.
Moses is going to be with us the whole week, right?
Yes.
This is going to be wonderful.
Just warm welcome right from the beginning.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Hi there.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Welcome to
Oh,
Mahogany Springs.
thank you very much.
I'm Audrey and
Hi,
you?
Audrey. Hello.
You are most welcome at Mahogany Springs.
Ah, thank you.
I'm Fred.
Fred, nice to meet you, Fred.
Nice meeting you.
With really nice, everyday people. It's a lovely place. It's perfectly located right on the edge of the rainforest. And the views are spectacular. I miss the views. The way they've got it organized too, you've got privacy, you've got a bungalow to yourself, and you've got all kinds of very willing help, but not intrusive and not, they clearly like their jobs, and they've been well chosen.
Despite the relaxing destination, Elaine begins to have problems with her camera. She can't transmit her footage back to her team in Ottawa.
How did I get past that? Again, if you don't know something and it's important, ask somebody. Just keep asking till you find the right help. I was having breakfast one morning trying to get this blasted thing on because, of course, the whole thing wasn't going to work without the GoPro. One of the breakfast guests turned out to be an engineer, and they were there on their honeymoon. He came over and he said, I know nothing about cameras. And I said, well, you know more about it than I do. So what do you think? And he managed to get it on. He showed me how to get it back on. Problem solved. It was like whew, a huge relief because that would have had an immense impact negatively.
With growing concerns about being able to update her audience, the staff at the lodge move Elaine to a room with better internet signal.
Cyprian, one of the people, one of the staff, came over and asked me, and I said to him, you know, here's the problem. I can't get this working in my bungalow. And he said, you leave that with me. And he came back about 2 hours later, and it seemed like the longest 2 hours when I thought I was going to be left with this problem that I was having. And he said, we have a new bungalow for you. And it was a fabulous bungalow with it was like a little piece of heaven. Well, after all the stress of all of the challenges, I am sitting here engaging in what I tell you you need to do, which is good self-care.
With the first leg of her journey done, Elaine settles in and prepares for another day of new challenges.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
The next day, Elaine arrives for her first forest gorilla trek and is greeted by the Ride for Women's organization, a local organization supporting women's rights and health in Uganda.
Moses, my guide, made contact to make sure that it was convenient. The women who perform and welcome and embrace the tourists coming in kind of raised the topic, and Moses said, well, why don't I take you there? So we are at the Empowering Women Center, and we're going to spend a half day here. Ride for Women is a program that was started by a woman named Evelyn. She was born in Buhoma, which is part of Bwindi. Her mother owned a plot of land. They weren't wealthy, but they owned this plot of land. And when her mother passed, she inherited this plot of land, and she's got a real dedication to the gender disparity of cultures, including her own. She worked very, very hard to find a way to create a foundation and a source of ongoing revenue. So they rent bicycles for tourists or anyone to use, because the roads, you wouldn't take your car on them, all right, unless they had an extremely maintained off-road vehicle, absolutely, because the rains also wash the roads out. So bikes are a good way to get around, and it became a revenue source for this program to mitigate the effect of domestic violence, basically.
Dr. Paul March, and I'm from Florida, member of the Zephyr Hills Rotary Club. Come here to visit with Ride for a Woman very frequently.
Wonderful. He has sponsored microfinance, so we started, it is him, yes. And it has been doing well, apart from the COVID that is bringing it, that brought it a little bit down. Okay. Yes, and also, he has 14 children that he sponsors.
It's been very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. You take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
They teach women how to develop skills that are usable in a wide variety of things. Then they encourage them to set up their own cottage industry, even how to garden, how to grow, because most of the food that the local people eat is self-grown, but it's grown under interesting conditions. They also have fabrics that they sell and they ship. They have products. I personally purchased 3 walking sticks that are carved. She's got technical people to come in to teach the women how to repair sewing machines. So when they're working on their own and supporting their own family, because there are very few jobs for the men, which is part of the dissatisfaction and the conflict, right?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too.
And to you and your families.
Thank you, Elaine.
Elaine is then briefed before entering the forest with local rangers and Ugandan soldiers.
I thought, you know what, Elaine? You have no idea what you're getting into. You've done your best to prepare. You're going to do it. All right? Moses said to me, most people hire a porter. It's a source of income. And I said, I think I need 6. And he said, 6? I said, yes, I need 6. I've thought about this. And half of them have to be women.
The Bwindi Impenetrable Forest is a large primeval forest located in southwestern Uganda in the Kanungu district. The forest is one of the most biologically diverse areas on Earth. Half of the world's population of the highly endangered mountain gorillas live within its borders. Other residents include chimpanzees, blue monkeys, elephants, and birds. The park was created in 1991 to protect the forest's mountain gorilla population from poachers and habitat loss. Elaine is 15 kilometers from the border of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which has been in conflict for decades. The United Nations counted over 100 DRC rebel groups near this border.
The first trek was a killer, but it was the easiest, apparently. Uphill, all right, that was about 1,400 meters high. And we had to go up to about 1,200 meters. All right, and we're talking straight up a blessed hill. But because I was coming up behind, I got to stay right on the mound that was on the same level as the gorillas. Okay. The last quarter on the way back, you're thinking, where's the finish line? And then you see it. And then when you see the finish line, I don't know whether it happened to everybody, but I was filled with, it sounds so hokey, but I was filled with a joy that I don't feel that often.
With another long day coming to an end, Elaine celebrates New Year's Eve back at the lodge.
I had just tracked gorillas, so I had to find a really polite way to be, enthusiastic, but deke out right immediately. Mahogany Springs Lodge also sponsors the school that I mentioned. There was a fire pit, and they danced around and they sang and performed, and it was really great, really great. And then I snuck off to my room because I was whipped.
The next day, Elaine is brought to visit the community hospital in Bwindi to gain an understanding of the challenges they face.
We are at the local hospital. I'd like to introduce you to Patricia, who is going to be our guide today.
The hospital is not able to provide for our patients meals. They can be able to prepare food from here, and then they can bring you on wards.
Okay, so family can cook for you.
Yes.
That experience changed my life. I was amazed at what they could do in the variety of programs that they offer, and they are pinching pennies.
Yes.
Take care of
or aunties.
Yeah, and an auntie or an elder sister.
Yeah.
I think someone who's able to take care of that. This is usually for nutrition, and so
A neonatal.
yeah,
Okay.
where now babies or prematures are admitted. Yeah, she's a nurse. She works
Hello.
in the pediatric.
I've come from Canada to do a video.
So usually this is the section where we admit prematures, and
We got to the neonatal emergency unit, and I walked through a very ordinary door, and I came around the corner, and there were two little babies that were no more than that long.
How premature was this baby?
And they had been born at 24 and 26 weeks. I noticed one of them had oxygen and the other one didn't, and they didn't look much different in different condition. And so I said to the nurse who was showing me around, oh, I see one's on oxygen. And she said, well, that's actually an infant CPAP system. And I said, oh, CPAP. And I said, well, what about this one? And she said, we only have one. Well, where's the CPAP machine? And she said, well, it's not actually a machine. She leaned down under the bassinet and pulled back this little curtain. And there was this bottle that looked like a 2-liter Coke bottle with a tube stuck in it. And the seal was white medical tape. And it was connected to another generator, something or other. This was the best that they had, and there was one. I was filled with anger, but at the same time, deep sadness that this was somebody's baby, and they were going to be playing tag with one gerrymandered CPAP machine. 15 to 20% of the babies that are born die because of a lack of available oxygen. This is too much inequality. Like where we live, there's inequality. There's inequality everywhere. All right, there's no point in moaning about that. This goes too far.
Elaine sets up a fundraiser to purchase new CPAP machines to replace the outdated system currently in use.
So we got to the administrator's office.
Thank you very much for your time. It's nice meeting you.
The administrator was able to send me the cost. Danny Yang at Pigeon Medical. He worked with me over 6 months while I raised the money. 44 other people got behind it. And we're talking $25, $15, all right? Our lowest donation was $5, but that $5 is like $200 to her.
Shortly after, Elaine is brought to her second trek by her porter and begins her hike into the national forest.
I wasn't sure. I knew I was prepared to give it my best, but I wasn't sure. And there were moments that it was like, whoa, one more step, one more step.
Okay, right now, we are literally climbing uphill through underbrush. And right now, honestly, I'd like to give up.
I had this dread. And I remember thinking to myself, you did it, but could you do it again? Represent yourself. Be clear about where your limitations are and what you need. And give yourself as much of what you need when you're facing an onerous challenge. All right, and believe in yourself. What's the worst that's going to happen? All right, maybe you won't succeed on the second one, but you will go as far as you can go, honestly. And even then, it was one step, one step. Somebody turned around and they went, "Don't move." And I went, "Why?" And they said, "Right behind you." And I turned around, and there was a little guy. I turned around like this, sideways, and there was a little guy about this big. We are so like each other. We really are.
After her second full trek, Elaine returns to the lodge to update her audience. The next morning, Elaine prepares for her third and final gorilla trek in Uganda.
It doesn't matter that we're doing this.
What is up for us?
the sounds of the waterfalls and the brook and the stream and was wonderful. And then I get to this spot where there isn't anybody other than the ranger. And I thought, where did everybody go? And I said to him, where did everybody go? And he looked at me and he went, and I said, where? And I look, and I said to him, where's the path? And he looked at me and he said, no path. There is a picture of me standing at the bottom of this face, all right? He said, if you sit there, I'm gonna go up. There are 2 families. They're up there. He said, and I'm going to entice one of the families to come back down. And he said, and you're going to have them to yourself. You're in trouble now. But this was like a gift. It really was. There was 1 silverback, there was 1 female, there were 2 adolescents and a baby. And as the silverback is coming, he comes like right straight in front of me, across in front. Like we're talking, reach out and touch. If they come closer to you when they're on their path, you stay still, it's fine, but you can't approach them, all right? And so the ranger whispers, don't be afraid. And I look around and I see him coming and I thought, you don't know me at all. I'm not afraid, this is exciting. Anyway, he goes straight across and he finds his little, he's gonna have a nap. I just stood there and I thought, whoa. There's an energy that you exchange, and their family structure, the way they size you up, you know, visually and behaviorally, the way they react, there is so much in common. That was just an outstanding experience, you know, yeah.
An adolescent gorilla sits right next to Elaine as she says her goodbyes to the gorilla family.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I've been better. I've been better.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was it?
It was marvelous, but I'm dead. I'm absolutely dead, Ambrose.
Elaine is given a certification for completing the 3 treks. Back at the lodge, the dining room is filling up, and Elaine is preparing for her long journey back home.
You did it. You actually did it. And then I made sure, however, that with all of this elation, I got a spot with my back to a solid surface. And I am 1 day away from leaving Mahogany Springs Lodge. I have had 3 very different, amazing gorilla trekking experiences. Just the people I met, and I met a lot of people, all right? Lovely people.
This is Imelda, Charles, and David, my lifesavers.
The kindness, you know, the poverty, the ability to be happy, and if not happy, content enough, hopes for a good future, hopes for a good job, and just how similar we really are. And lovely people. I miss the attitude, and I miss the music, and I miss, they've become friends. I may never see them again, but yeah, it's a profoundly positive experience.
And this is our send-off point. I'm in Kihihi right now, and I'm going to prop plane an hour flight from Kihihi to Entebbe. And this is the mastermind, Moses, who has cleared all paths and made everything doable. Thank you, Moses. And now I'm heading back, having overcome so many challenges face on, and doing it with your support, your emails from home, and your emails from people I don't even know who've seen the videos.
How many times do we walk by and we don't realize that what we were afraid of is doable?
Elaine arrives back home, exhausted but fulfilled. She has done the thing that she has been wanting to do for years. She has experienced the profound awe of seeing gorillas surviving in their natural habitat. She now knows firsthand the beauty and the fragility of their lives, and of the lives of the people who work to protect them. She carries with her the rewards of doing something new, taking the leap into the unknown. She has gained the confidence that she can make things happen, even difficult things, and that she can find solutions to obstacles that get in her way. She has a deep felt connection with the wonderful people of Bwindi, and she has created a fund to support the survival and well-being of some of their most vulnerable children at the Bwindi Community Hospital.